Hello, educators. I'm Nikita Phadnavis, a trainer and an educational consultant from London, UK, and I'd like to welcome you all at ENARC Power Talks. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic that is close to my heart, a topic that I have pondered over for years, even before I decided to become a teacher. Well, it's the elephant in the room: success. Have you ever wondered what makes some people more successful, more confident, healthier, and in general happier than others? What distinguishes the extraordinary from the ordinary? What gives these outliers their superpowers? Well, I have, because obviously I wanted that for myself. And even before I became a mother, I did think of it as something I wanted for my kids I was planning to have. And when I became a teacher, I wanted the best for the children in my care. My research led me to discovering some superpowers of the successful people. And by success, I do not mean becoming a millionaire or a billionaire. By success, I mean achieving your goals, however small or big. So, superpowers are the strengths in you that enable you to set and attain those goals. And I believe these superpowers are essential for our happiness too, not just our success. I'm going to talk about one of these superpowers today, which I believe is the key to our well being. But before that, let me tell you a story. This happened when my daughter was in year one. She was about 6 years old. One day she came home from school and asked, "Mummy, can I please ask you for something? Will you promise you won't say no?" I didn't want to say no or yes before knowing what she was asking for. I certainly didn't want to promise. So I asked. And she said, "Can you please buy me a Lego set?" I could see from her expression and her body language that she really wanted it. I couldn't think of anything she had ever wanted that bad. So I promised. I said, "Tomorrow, when you're at school, I'll go and get you a nice Lego set. When you come home from school, you can play with it." She clarified, "No, no, not a nice Lego set. I want Lego Creator, Red Thunder, or something." And she had the product code and all memorized. Now, mind you, as a trained teacher, alarm bells started going off in my head. Is she being groomed by someone? How come she knows all these details? She doesn't have access to internet. Where did she see this? How does she know it? And as I was panicking and lost in my own thoughts, she tugged at my sleeve again and asked, "Mommy, but you promised." I took a deep breath and pulled my laptop out and online showed her some Lego sets. And giving her options, I asked her, "How about this one? How about this one?" And yet she insisted, "No, I want the Red Thunder." So I mustered courage and I asked, "Where have you seen this? How do you even know it's any good?" She replied, "I have seen it at school. Everyone plays with it. It seems to be fun. Everyone seems to enjoy. Mommy, you can make a plane, a helicopter, a car out of it. It's amazing. Please." Now I was relieved that she's not being groomed and there's no abuse or anything. But then now I was worried, why is she not playing it with it at school? Is it racism? Is it favoritism? Is her teacher preventing her from playing with it? Or could it be bullying or both? I didn't want to put ideas into her head, so I didn't want to ask direct questions. But I wanted to know more. So showing her some options on my laptop, I asked, well, how about this one? How about I buy you this hair salon Lego set? Look, it comes with these tiny little figurines. You can play with the plain thing at school and you can play with this at home. So you'll have a variety, huh? She adamantly said, "No, I can't play with it at school." So I asked, "Why not?" And now, losing her patience, she replied, "Well, I told you. Do you never listen? The teacher announced I was the star reader of the class at the beginning of the year. Remember? So I want her to think I'm the star reader. So I don't want to do anything else at school except reading." What if she sees me playing with Lego or on the climbing frame in the playground and she thinks that I'm not her star reader? What if she stops liking me? What if she gives my star title to someone else? I don't want that. So I can't be playing with Lego at school. I only read at school. My heart sank. Well, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I should be happy that there's no bullying or racism or favoritism or grooming, or I should be sad that my daughter's not able to do something she likes or enjoys simply because she wants her teacher to like her. This was bothering me as a mother. But then the next day, I set foot at work in my classroom. It made me reflect as a teacher as well. How many of my students are doing things just to please me because I praise them for something? If you heard of Bader-Meinhof phenomena, that's what started happening to me. Well, yeah, this Bader-Meinhof phenomena, it's like when you buy a blue car, you suddenly start seeing blue cars everywhere. Same thing. Now that I was aware of people doing things to seek praise or to be liked by others or to please others, I started spotting children and adults doing it all the time. People doing things not because it's their passion, but because they crave for recognition and external validation. So I started wondering, are we raising a generation of people pleasers? That's certainly not the key to happiness, is it? So now the question was, how can we raise children to be more self aware? Individuals who are driven by intrinsic motivation as opposed to seeking external validation. And that is the superpower that I'm talking about, the power to listen to your heart and not just to crave for a well done, the power of recognizing your emotions, your needs, your wants, and then respecting those, respecting your needs while respecting those of others. That is the superpower of self awareness that I'm talking about. Now, mind you, we all have this need to want to be accepted and liked by others. And evolutionary psychology explains this drive as something that has enabled us to survive. Because as human beings evolved, they realized that they had a better chance of surviving if they were part of a community. Of course, it's easier to fight a mountain lion as a group rather than having to fight single handed. And in order to be a part of a community, you needed to be accepted and liked by others. Otherwise, you risked being exiled. You risked your survival. It literally meant death. So, this want of being liked and accepted is deep rooted within us. Clinical psychologist Dr. Erica Martinez adds that people's need for seeking approval of others to determine their inherent self worth is rooted in the messages that people receive while growing up. So, as educators, what can we do to ensure that we are not unintentionally teaching our children to seek external validation? Should we stop praising them? I found the answer in the works of Dr. Ilse Garcia. She said that when we praise a child, the praise should be genuinely about the child. For example, when we see a child has worked really hard to attain something, if we praise him by saying, I'm really happy to see how you persevered, what are you doing? You're making it all about you. You're saying, I am happy. Instead, ask the child, I notice how you persevered with the problem. You didn't give up. How did that make you feel? The child might say, I'm really proud of myself. I've learned a lot. And you might say, yeah, I'm proud of you too. But first, it's about the child. Ask them how it makes them feel so they know their feelings matter. I remember when I was in year six, in the final exams, I had scored 96% in math and I was first in the class. All my teachers, my friends, my family members, neighbors, everyone said to me, wow, you must be happy. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. You've come first. To be honest, I felt terrible because in the midterm exams, I had scored 97% and I was first. So for the end of the year exams, I had worked really hard and was hoping to get 100% or at least 98, more than 97, right? But this time I had done worse. I got 96. When my dad came home that evening, I showed him the report card. And his first words were, "So, how do you feel?" And I replied honestly, "I'm not really pleased with myself, Daddy. I know I can do better. I don't care about being first. I just want to do better." Now, when I think about all the "I'm proud of you" that I got from everyone, I didn't like it. If they are proud of me for getting a 96, does that mean they believe that that is my limit and I can't do better? And is that why they were proud of me? That is a little insulting, frankly speaking. And everyone saying, "You should be happy," made me wonder, is there something wrong with me? Are my feelings invalid? Am I wrong for feeling the way I'm feeling? Reflecting upon that experience as a teacher, I ensure that I don't assume how my children might be feeling. I ask. And if the child is too young to label their emotions, then I use the words "you seem to be happy, upset, angry, frustrated," whatever their emotion. I don't say "you must be." I say "you seem to be." So here are a few things that I do in my classroom to teach children self-awareness. When a child has done something desirable or undesirable, a mistake for that matter, I ask them, "How does that make you feel?" If a child has won, say, a tennis tournament, for example, and if they say, "I feel great, I'm so happy," I usually add, "Yes, I'm happy for you too. You worked really hard and you were able to enjoy the game and even win the tournament." If the child has done something wrong and if they say, "I feel terrible, Sam is never going to be friends with me again," then I ask them, "Well, by saying, I see you're feeling terrible. You made a bad choice back there. Now, how can you make things better with Sam?" Over the years, I've discovered that this helps children learn from their mistakes better. Instead of me having to shout at my student, "Ben, that was a terrible thing you done back there. Go say sorry to Sam now." The child doesn't learn anything. The best lesson is learned when they say that they are feeling sorry or sad or terrible or bad. As a teacher, my job is to support them to learn from it and to make things better. When emotions are evoked, those learning experiences stick with us for longer. So ask your children, "How does that make you feel?" And let them know that their feelings matter. At the same time, we don't want our children to be totally self centered. We want them to learn to fit into the society and work harmoniously with others. They need to think of others too. So, respecting your feelings does not mean walking over others and disrespecting needs and feelings of others. Respecting your feelings means acting upon your intrinsic motivations, not performing to seek external validation, but doing this whilst respecting feelings and boundaries of others, not by disrespecting others. The best way to teach children that is to allow them to work in groups where possible, or at least in pairs. When children are allowed such opportunities, they learn the important social skill of adapting, adjusting, and negotiating. If we work only as individuals, we learn just to compete, not to collaborate. But in life, both these skills are important. So create opportunities in your class for your children to collaborate. Another thing I'm very conscious of as a teacher is comparison. If we don't want our children to seek external validation, we also need to be aware of the way we speak to our children. Dr. Garcia gave an example of how some teachers communicate their messages. For example, at tidy up time, you notice some children are still continuing to play and are not tidying up. You might praise children who are tidying up, hoping that others who are not tidying up would get a hint. You might say something like, "Oh, I really like the way Johnny is tidying up over there." hoping that Alex, who's not tidying up, might get a hint. So instead of you having to criticize Alex, you're just praising Johnny, hoping that Alex would start copying Johnny to get that motivation. And what happens? We suddenly see Alex picking up his blocks, and Alex goes, Miss, look at me over here. And you go, well done, Alex. What have we just done? We have just taught Alex that if you want approval, then be more like Johnny. Is that healthy? I don't think so. I don't do this indirect comparison to motivate my children. I might go over to Alex. I don't have to criticize him. I might go over to him and say, hey, Alex, I see you need more time with your blocks. Would you like to put them on the side so you can continue playing with them tomorrow? Now it's time to go home. So now we need to help everyone tidy up the classroom. I help children to compare themselves to their own previous performance. So if a child in my kindergarten builds a tower and proudly shows, look how tall it is, I do cheer them by saying, yes, yesterday your tower was shorter than this. You've worked harder today. Slowly and subtly, I teach my children to value their unique qualities and compare themselves against their own past performance as opposed to comparing them against someone else. Even when I motivate children, I do not compare them to others. For instance, when a child says to me, I don't want to practice tennis, it's scary. What if the ball hits me? Instead of saying, come on, look, everyone in the class is doing it, you can do it too, I go there and acknowledge their feelings. I say to that child, yeah, it does look a bit scary, doesn't it? I used to be scared too. I get it. But remember, a few months ago, you told me you were scared to ride the bicycle, and then finally you did it. How did you feel then? Just the way you managed to overcome your fear of riding the bicycle, do you think you can make this one work too? How would that make you feel? When we compare children to others, they learn to compare themselves to others too. So, to summarize, 3 things that I do to empower my children to practice self awareness whilst respecting others are: 1. I ask them the question, how does it make you feel? I don't assume, I don't tell them, you must be proud, you must be happy. I don't make praise all about me by saying, I'm so happy, I'm so proud of you. I ask, how does it make you feel? Their feelings matter. 2. I create opportunities for children to collaborate so they learn to respect their feelings in the context of a group, whilst respecting needs and feelings of others. 3. I help children see their unique qualities and build on their success stories rather than comparing them to others. And most importantly, I model this by practicing self awareness myself. When appropriate, I talk about my feelings. I talk about my efforts to grow. Happiness is something that is within us. Seeking external validation is like putting the key to your happiness in someone else's pocket. I hope this talk can empower you to empower your children. Thank you.